This is your 20-minute podcast, where we do our best to give you useful information in 20 minutes or less. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/your 20-minute podcast. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Now, here's your host, David Brower.
This is David Brower with your 20-minute podcast, and our special guest today is Meiyoko Taylor from the Garden State, the beautiful state of New Jersey. Is that how you say that?
That's how some people say
it. It was hard for me to go there. I'm glad I got it out of my system. One of the things that I've read about you is it really appears to zero down to one word, and that is amazing. Getting the whatever amazing means out of yourself, of course, and out of other people. So how did that all start with you?
Well, pretty much I believe that everybody born is a miracle. I mean, the aspect of childbirth is absolutely amazing to me. And I believe that we were all born with unique gifts, talents, abilities, skills that other people aren't born with. Sure, there are some skills and talents that you can develop, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the natural talents and abilities that you have been given that just really identify who you are. And that's what finding your amazing is all about. Some people are using these talents and these skills without even knowing they're using them because it's second nature. Then there's other people that have these hidden talents and abilities, and they need someone like myself to kind of unlock that hidden potential.
Wow, that's got to be... that sounds like the ultimate win-win. Where you're able to get in with somebody, develop trust with them, have them open up to you, and then have you, with your unique ability and talent, obviously, help them find theirs.
Absolutely. It's an exciting process when you can, take a person and actually sit down with them and get to the bottom of, what's been bothering them, what they're passionate about, how to find their passion, and really, really hone in on that skill set or that gift that they have. It's an amazing experience. You can see the person light up, and it's like this new ray of hope and purpose and mission, and it's an awesome experience all around.
Well, and you can feel it in your smile just as you talk about it. So that speaks volumes. So before you started helping people find their amazingness, if that's a word, what were you doing? Were you on a quest to find your own?
It's funny you said that. I've always known that I wanted to help people. The feeling that I get from helping, nurturing, teaching, educating, there's not too many feelings quite like that. So I always knew that was what I wanted to do. So I started out, I said, I want to help people. Dress up every now and then and have my own business. So I started out in the financial services industry. So I did that for a very long time. I still do it every now and then. But what I really realized what was missing is I really wanted to do the whole nurturing process. And what happened, ironically, in my own life is I allowed outside influences to dictate the things that I was doing, whether it be parents, and parents mean well,
right?
But sometimes what parents just...
Yeah, it's hard sometimes when they feel the love and they feel they know what is right for you, and that's...
Absolutely. So I took a job, and it was something that I absolutely hated, and I did it for a while. I was in a relationship for a number of years that was not serving me or the person. We were just not right for each other. And I think the both of us were just scared to kind of part our ways because we adapted this dependency on one another. And my health started to decline. So I was depressed, I was frustrated with life, and I was just doing all of the things that I really didn't want to do. So I knew I had to make a decision. And I said to myself, I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I've always been a skinny guy. Thankfully, I'm skinny now. I've always been a skinny guy, but I was 70 pounds overweight at the time.
Wow.
And I remember looking at myself in the mirror and kind of bursting into tears. And I said, what happened to you? I don't even recognize this person. So I said, I have one of two choices. I said, I can continue to go down this road and continuously spiral out of control to even worse health and make myself even more miserable. And God only knows what happens then.
Right.
Or I can make the scariest decision of my life and just ignore everything that I was hearing, doing, seeing, and really searching within myself and what I really wanted to do and say, you know what, I'm going to take a chance here. And then I did. And I faced some resistance, from the outside world, whoever that, may be.
Right.
Just my environment at the time. And I noticed once I did that, I was scared to death. It was one of the most scariest decisions of my life because I finally started to do what was in myself to do as opposed to what I was hearing and what I felt or what I've heard was the norm. So once I did that, I started to see a little bit of progress and it really hit me. And I said, wow, I'm kind of venturing out, doing things that I really want to do and I'm progressing. And then I saw that. And then little by little, the burdens just started to lift. And I started to interact and do more things that I was passionate about. And that's when it really started connecting to me that if I can do the things that I'm passionate about and that I'm great at, then I really have a shot at creating the level of success that I truly desire.
Wow. That's a wonderful story, man. And it always amazes me. And I don't say it lightly because we all have our own path that we take, whether it's by our own choice or an assumed choice from our circumstances. But oftentimes when we find ourselves reaching near the bottom or actually hitting the bottom and bouncing back up, we have this clarity, if we're lucky, that helps us to go, I think I'm going to go that way now.
Absolutely, because you're at a space now where everything you got all this chaos around you. So you have no choice but to look for alternatives.
Yeah.
So you're at this space where it's like, okay, it's not going to get any worse. I'm completely at the bottom now. So let's regroup and let's really decide what it is that I want. What am I doing? What am I not doing? Because if this is my absolute worst at this point in my life, then I owe it to myself to go completely the opposite way because nothing else is working the previous way. So now it just opens the door for me to have guts or to just take that chance because at that point, I feel like I have nothing to lose and everything to lose at the same time.
Well said.
If that makes any sense.
Makes perfect sense. And the other part of that, I would think, is you want to get out of that dark place so badly. But with that said, you don't want to get out of it so rapidly that you miss some really positive opportunities along the way, right?
Oh, absolutely. When I was in my state, when I was in that situation, it's only two things that really get people to change, and it's pain or pleasure. And I was in a state of really, really severe pain. And I said, okay, something has to change. But at the same time, I was open. I realized I put my ego to the side and said, there's a lot of things in life that I don't know and will never know. But now is the time to depend on my resources and to really find out who I am. At some point in my life, I lost who I was. And that was part of the problem. I was just going through the motions and just existing and not really living. I lost who I was. So I had to rediscover that and reconnect to who I was. And then in the process, I found out more of who I am.
And I don't know if this is a similar circumstance to you, but it feels like it is. So I'll share you mine. Bad relationship, long time. We both didn't want to get out of it, but we both needed to get out of it. And so we're both accommodating each other the best we know how. And then whatever the reason is, the switch goes off and you go, man, we are not doing either one of us any good. And so you make that break and it's a healthy break and it's a good decision and it's going to be a struggle, but you've been living in that place for so long. Even though you walk away, you're still in that place. You're just by yourself now.
Well, you said something very, very key, and I'll just kind of bring it out a little bit more. You had a certain level of comfort. That was your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That was your safety box. That was your safe place. And you couldn't progress any further in life or what you wanted to do in any capacity until you left that situation. And that's pretty much, that's not only just relationships, that can be a job.
Absolutely. You got to face your fears, but you got to be able to identify what they are, right?
And giving you this false sense of security. That's what it is. It's a false sense of security when you remain in your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And you really need to get out of it. And that's what most people struggle with, is removing themselves from their comfort zone. And that's the best thing for us.
Well, it is, but how do you, and maybe that's the magic that you have, and I use that term loosely, but how many of us know that we are in a comfort zone? Maybe we're okay with that.
I think it's having a strong level of self-awareness. And you really have to sit down with yourself, or like someone like myself, and really assess if you're really doing the things that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
What's your life structure like? How are things in your personal relationships, your business relationships? How do you feel when you get up in the morning? If you were to die tomorrow, how would you feel? What would you feel you have accomplished in life? And that's something that I ask all of my clients, and it's actually in the book that I just finished actually doing. What can you say to yourself if this was the last day you were going to be on this earth? And that's something, it's a very, very, I guess, morbid question and doom and gloom type of question to people. But it really raises an awareness when you ask somebody that, because it's just like, oh my God, they start thinking of so many things that they really wanted to do or should be doing. And then that's the indicator, the buzzer goes off. These are the things that you should be doing now. Why wait until that particular time comes? And I think that's the deception that we get caught in. We get caught in everyday life without really focusing on the things that matter and the things that are the most important.
So when you ask somebody that question, they have a couple options, I would think. And one is to, yeah, you're an idiot. I'll see you later. Bye. Or, wow, this is really an opportunity for me. This is very empowering for me. I need to see where this goes.
At first, it's pretty scary, because when I asked myself the question, it was very scary. Like, oh my God, what can I really say about? First of all, death is naturally scary. And when you propose that question, it really makes you search within yourself, and it gives you that self-awareness. I'm going to say that 50 million times probably.
That's okay.
But self-awareness is really, really important. And when you really think about what you do every day on a daily basis and what you focus on, sometimes it either scares you, disgusts you, or you really realize that you're not really taking any steps at all towards the goals you really want to accomplish. And I do that even now. I tell everybody, just because I do personal development and I'm a speaker and all those things, you take all those things away, I'm still a human being myself. Everything that I recommend someone else to do, I still do it today. These are things that I reevaluate myself and continue to do. So it's not something that I'm just telling everybody else. I do these things myself, and it's very, very important.
Well, and I would think that when you share these conversations, when you have these conversations with people and they begin to trust you and they begin to open up more and more, that allows you to open up more and more. And all of a sudden you've got this, I would think, this huge interaction. It may take a day, may take a week, may take a month, but you've got this huge interaction thing going on where you're really helping each other, aren't you?
Well, you're right. One of the things that most people miss the mark with is that they don't really identify with the people that they're speaking to.
Yeah.
There's so many different motivational speakers, personal development gurus, if you want to call them that, that pitch these amazing things to people, and they get them motivated and inspired. That's all well and good. Now it's the implementation. After I hear your presentation or read your book, that's it. I still have my regular life to deal with. So show me how to implement specific things in my life. And to go a step further, show me how you relate to the things that you're trying to teach me. Show me that you're a human being. Show me that I can engage with you. And that's one of the biggest things I really focus on when I'm writing, when I'm reading, when I'm speaking, when I'm doing whatever. I want people to feel like they can relate to Meiyoko. I am a random, regular person just like you are. I've just learned a few things, and I'm able to express myself in a way where I can help you learn from your mistakes or not make the same mistakes that I made and take certain steps to better your chances for success in your own life.
Absolutely. The thing that was always frustrating to me when I went to conferences or seminars or training or motivation or whatever, everybody would get fired up, everybody would get amped up, and you'd compare notes, and 72 hours later you go, okay, what was that about?
Exactly.
And so with your approach, it's not the shock and awe, it's the shock and here we go.
Exactly. And sometimes, sometimes it's not a shock and awe, or it is an awe, but it's not what most people think. Sometimes it's the inspirational, the motivational. Yes, I'm on fire. Let's take some action. Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's just like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life?
Right.
I really have to go home and think about this.
Until next time, don't forget to download your free audiobook at audibletrial.com/your 20-minute podcast. That's audibletrial.com/your 20-minute podcast for your free audiobook. And thanks for listening to Your 20-Minute Podcast with David Brower.